He's not a bat, he's a man who fights crime. And we're gonna watch him fight for a minute at a time. With John and Niall and a guest who doesn't rhyme. It's Bat Minute!
Hello everyone, and welcome once again to Bat Minute of the Phantasm. This is the podcast that clubs you in the chest with the bat of knowledge regarding Batman Mask of the Phantasm, 1 minute at a time. I'm one of the hosts, Niall McGowan, and I just realized, like, as I was saying that, I was like, you always hear about people getting clubbed over the head, but you rarely hear about someone getting clubbed in the chest. It feels like club's a head thing rather than a chest thing, but I don't know if there's any specifics regarding that. But anyway, I'm here doing the thing.
I'm your other host, John Parker. I'm going to club you with the bat of stupidity.
Yeah, I hope you got your insurance paid up, sucker. I love the goon dialogue in this minute in particular.
It's all very, very corny in the best way.
Yeah. And we're joined here with a new guest, a newbie to the show overall, but not a newbie to movies by minutes by any means. It is the host of Akira Minute, Jack Stovold.
Better have your podcast insurance paid up, sucker. So you stole my intro already, but
he's been doing that to me for weeks.
As people don't realize, the next 2 minutes have already been recorded. Me and John, we have a whole falling out about this very thing. But you got that to look forward to later in the week.
Yeah, a little tease for you.
But put a pin in that Akira thing, because that might be the reason you're on for this specific minute.
I was going to ask, is this because of the motorcycles?
It's 100% because of the motorcycles.
No, it's a complete coincidence. It wasn't planned.
But yes, this minute is specifically minute 28, and it opens with a felon being flung, and it ends a minute later with a proto-bat being stung. So, or his bell being rung, whichever rhyme you prefer.
Oh,
you think
I like that.
Works better.
This is why they call him Batman, right?
Yeah, but that's one of the things that you're looking at it going like, Bruce Wayne getting felled by a bat to the getting destroyed by a bat to the chest. Is there a subtext?
How fitting.
Ironic.
You couldn't tell if that was a Palpatine impression or a really good Kevin Conroy Batman impression. This kind of works as both.
Now I wish we got Kevin Conroy doing Palpatine in some kind of animated thing. That would have been great.
Yeah. Mark Hamill. We already have Mark Hamill, so...
Yeah,
totally.
Totally. We missed an opportunity. Then again, with AI and whatnot these days, and your deep fakes and all this kind of... You can probably just somehow, use a computer to recreate his voice anyway.
That's one of the things. I was like, oh yeah, Kevin Conroy tragically passed. We'll never hear his Batman voice again, except for this upcoming game that's yet to be released as of recording. But I'm sure he's done enough Batman recordings that we could keep making them for years.
Just stitch it together.
Yeah, the audio banks, it's all there. We could keep him alive literally forever now.
That's not creepy at all.
But should ask though, Jack, what is your history with Mask of the Phantasm? Because we're on our constant quest to find the one person who saw it in the cinema when it was released, and as of yet, we've yet to come across someone who saw it in theaters.
Well, your quest is over because I did.
Wow. You were the guy. It was you the whole time.
I can't believe we finally got someone.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was a huge fan of the show as a kid when it was on, and when this movie came out, it was like, oh my god, there's a freaking animated Batman movie coming out in the theaters. And my father used to watch the cartoon with me and my brother, so he just took us to see it, and it was fantastic. It was one of my most memorable movie-going experiences as a kid to the cinema. Yeah.
Oh, I'm jealous. I want them to re-release this over here. Come on. Come on, what you doing, DC?
I think
What
they
you doing, Warner?
do have screenings from time to time, but I know because Rob O'Connor saw one. I think the weekend Kevin Conroy died. There was a theater in Dublin that showed it, and it's like, where was that here? We didn't get that. What the hell? But
Yeah,
I guess it's up to us, John, to go and commission. Go like we could put it on somewhere. I guess if we figured out how to do such a thing.
Well, I did find out that the Cineworld cinema now lets you rent the whole screen out. Like if you just want to party.
I think that was a big thing during COVID, wasn't it? That they started. There was people who were like, "Oh, I really want to see whatever," but like I don't want to get infected, and they would just like, "Well, I'll just rent the entire theater and get a bunch of my friends to chip in, and then we can just all go see it together." So you get like 20 people in 100 seats, 100-seat theater or whatever.
We could do it. Let's. Then again, I assume you have to pick from movies that they've got. You can't just bring a DVD or something.
I heard the people doing like, "Oh, we did it for like Godzilla versus Kong." It's like, that's the movie you want? You were that desperate to see Godzilla versus Kong? Like, if it was one of the old ones, I would get it, but like the new one, come on, man.
Hey, watch your mouth there. That's a great movie.
But yeah. So right into the action though. This is a very action heavy minute. We get Bruce, the most easy dispatch of a villain we might have seen in Batman history, just literally picking the guy up and throwing him in the friggin' canal. Like it's efficient. I'll give him that.
That was crazy. Bruce is seeing red here. Like that could kill the guy. Let's be honest.
Oh yeah. We never see this guy again. It's just like it reminded me of I think.
He hadn't come up with his no-killing rule yet, maybe.
This is what taught him that. Like, oh, that was terrible.
Yeah.
It's like, I felt kind of bad after that. Yeah.
Yeah, the guy's body washed up a week later.
That did remind me of, because I'm a big Sopranos fan, and I've seen an interview with the guy who played Paulie Walnuts, Tony Cicero. Or Sirico? I'm not too sure how to pronounce it, but I'm terrible with people's names, apparently.
That's usually me.
Yeah, but because he was a wise guy, like he was a proper gangster years before like the Sopranos started, and he was just telling a story one time, like I like one time I threw a guy off a bridge into a river. I don't know if he survived. Like, there's a good chance he didn't. And it's like, but think about that from time to time. You're like, it's a guy just sitting on camera, and like, I think I might have killed someone one time, but like, it was a couple of years ago, so who cares? It's like, I'm pretty sure the police were still watching that, going, wait, who did you throw in the river?
Yeah, the statute of limitations expires on murder, right? I'm sure.
Yeah. They'll just go, oh, that was a long time ago. We've moved on. It's okay.
Yes. Slap on the wrist.
Yeah.
I think it's because he had already been in prison. He's like, well, I served time, so I was okay. It's like, you can still go back to prison for another crime,
No, you can't. You can only do one sentence. That's it. Everything's forgiven.
It comes out and he's like, well, the thing is, I didn't do the thing I got sent down for, but I'm like, I did commit that murder, so I'm going to take that as time served for the murder.
Kind of evens out.
It's like units in university or something.
Yeah. It's like, well, yeah, you get like credit.
Yeah, exactly.
Love the guy's scream as he goes in, though. It's a good, like, like it must have been just fun recording that. I can imagine.
Yeah, I love the zoom into the face too, as like right into the camera.
Yeah,
that's always delightful.
They could have drawn it like it would have really broken all kinds of like boundaries here. They could have drawn like the water splashing onto the camera, which makes no sense in movies anyway, especially not in an animated movie, but I would love it if they did it.
Yeah. But yeah, I was also very happy that they didn't. This would have been a prime opportunity to throw in a Wilhelm scream. And it's like, no. We got something better than that. Yeah.
This is the new Wilhelm. Let's replace it with this guy now. We then get what I can only describe as the most American dialogue of all time. Because one of the bad guys here, he threatens Brucey Boy and he says, better have your insurance paid up, sucker.
Paid up, sucker.
Like, not only is that shocking to me since I'm English, I'm like, what, you have to pay? But also, like, it's Bruce Wayne, dude. He can afford anything.
Yeah. That's one of my questions was, like, does Bruce Wayne even bother with insurance? Because, one, he could pay it.
Yeah.
And two, it's just like, well, what's he going to say to his insurance people?
He probably owns the hospital.
Yeah, he's probably got his own wing and everything.
Although it seems to be always Alfred just doing it for him, so it could be he's like, well, why would I get insurance? I got Alfred. And Alfred's like, well, you do know I have other things to do. So like, I can't be. If you get a bat to the chest, maybe if someone else would be able to attend. No, we're fine, Alfred. You'll do.
I do like though that Bruce in different versions of Batman movies, he, despite being so rich, he's got to keep his injuries like hidden. He can't just go down. Oh, I was doing some martial arts training and I hurt my ribs. It's like no. He doesn't want any traces going back to who he is.
But this one, the friggin' the bat to the chest though. Well, I'll say that's later in the minute. But that one's a real like. He really walks that off. Considering the whole thing shatters over his chest, it's like I'm pretty sure that would do some pretty bad damage, man. But,
it looks painful.
Yeah.
How easy is it to shatter a baseball bat on someone? I imagine that's very difficult to do.
Yes.
They went for the Easy Break baseball bat company or something.
He pre-saws like a little bit of it because he just likes the break. It makes a nice effect when you attack someone with it.
That could be. He's all about the theatrics. He just loves shattering things on top of people. As they hoping splinters get caught in their eyes or something as well. I was like, it just adds to it.
Would it be worse to get hit with a baseball bat or a cricket bat from over here?
Ooh, it's a good question.
One's round, one's flat.
For some reason, I think the cricket bat would be worse. I think because it's got a broader area, a broader radius. So I think you'd be doing more. It's more of a proper full-on smack. Baseball bats is like, I don't know. I'm sure it would be horrible. But
let's test it.
On you, Jack. Thank you for volunteering for this.
This isn't. I shouldn't have been on this minute.
But yeah. One thing that really struck me though, I'm surprised they didn't go down this route. But the guy, the real fish-lipped dude who takes out the friggin' chain.
I thought fish lip or Harvey Dent lips.
Oh yeah.
But he really reminded me weirdly of Buzz Bronski from earlier in the movie. I was just like, for a second, I was like, is this supposed to be like a... But then we see young Buzz Bronski later on anyway, during a later flashback. But it feels like, that would have been something that was just like, after he falls off the bike, his hair gets scraped off by the fall. And then Sal Valester comes out with a fedora and is like, here, take this, kid. I like the cut of your chip.
That'd be great. Maybe it's his kid.
Could be, yeah. Little Buzz Bronski.
Has to make his bones, little Buzz.
It stands to reason though. It could be that they have if Sal Valester did come in there, he doesn't see he has the tall man in the car there guarding him, but he could have been I got Buzz's kid to just as my entourage just for extra protection, so nobody knows I've got I've not got guys in pinstripe suits with guns hanging around with me. I've got this gang just idling behind me, but no one catches on that they're actually with me.
He has a little motorcade.
Yeah.
I thought both of these, as I always do, I thought they tied back to wrestling because the guy swinging the chain, there used to be a guy who did that back in the 70s, I think, Bruiser Brody.
Like an actual chain.
Yeah, and he would perform a lot in Japan, actually, which is one reason I thought of it, because of you. And he used to just sort of walk into the arena swinging the chain. And if you didn't get out of the way, this was the 70s, it was a bit more violent. If you didn't get out of the way, you're getting hit with that chain.
Holy Christ. That feels like one of him just coming out shouting, you better have your insurance paid up, suckers.
Paid up, suckers.
Yeah, it was... he lived the character, basically. Yeah. He was just a wild man, and apparently he was just like that all the time.
It's great to see like the Red Sea parting, when he's coming down, all the audience is all leaning to one side to get as far away from him as possible.
It's great.
Sounds like he found the perfect career for himself.
Yeah, it was just an accident. He just liked swinging a chain anyway, But
it's the only thing I'm good at.
Then the guy with the baseball bat.
I can't believe they pay me to do this.
Then the one with the baseball bat, I thought of two more modern. I mean, they've been around since the bloody 80s and 90s, but Sting and Chris Jericho, they both proponents of hitting people with a baseball bat.
Well, I just thought, though, because the little kind of holster he has really made me think of T2, like Arnie, where he keeps the rifle. And I was kind of thinking, what? what is that in an actual motorbike? It seems like, oh yeah, they've got a little thing that's perfect for putting your weapons in.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure that's not the actual purpose of them.
What would you put in that? Is it like tools or something for repairs?
Designed specifically for thugs.
I'll buy the thug model, please.
Yeah.
This is like for an umbrella or something, but then you get like some guy pulling out an umbrella and like driving the motorcycle one-handed as he's driving around in the rain, the brawly up at the same time.
That's the most English thing I can imagine now.
Yes. Speaking of English, though, I had a question for John. So I know Ephraim Zimbalist Jr., who plays Alfred, is American. I'm just wondering, how does his accent sound to you?
It's not bad. Like, I can tell he's not English, but it's also he's playing a very specific type of character who they kind of affect a voice anyway. Like, nobody really speaks like that, but the rich and the posh and you know, exactly. So
Captain Picard. Yeah.
It's kind of an act in the real world, as it is. So it works. I've heard far, far worse, let's say.
But no, it could be that Thomas Wayne hired Alfred to be like, I'm hiring an English butler. You don't have to be English, but you are specifically hired to be an English butler.
It's in the contract. You have to do a voice.
His actual name is like Chad, Kinkle or something. And then they're just like, no, we call you Alfred Pennyworth. That's your butler name.
Pennyworth.
I like how Kinkle is your quintessential American
surname. Yeah. Where did that come from?
It's just because I do know a guy. Like, I was thinking Chad is like, what could be the second name? And I know a guy. Like, I don't know him, but I know of a guy called Chad Kinkle. So I was like, Kinkle.
That's an amazing name. Wasn't that the surname? This is the most obscure thing I think I've ever come out with on this show. The surname of, wasn't it a boyfriend in Clarissa?
It was Harvey Kinkle and Sabrina, wasn't it?
Sabrina, that's the one I'm thinking of. Yeah, Harvey Kinkle.
The mitosis is guy, yeah. And then he was just like, they kind of dick them around in the new version. It was like, he wasn't with Sabrina? Like, what are you doing? Like, what is this? But,
Harvey Kinkle, that's a great name. Anyone called Kinkle, brilliant. If you're a Kinkle, write in.
Isn't there a thing, too, in the first Ace Ventura? Wasn't it Kinkle and Einhorn is Kinkle? Kinkle's Einhorn.
I think,
that sounds
might be
familiar.
Finkel.
Finkel might be it, yeah. There's an inkle. I got an inkling there's an inkle in there somewhere. But yeah, so we got some nice, there's a lot of there's a lot of distinct visual cues throughout the whole movie. And homages to other things. But we kind of get one I really like of the close-up of Bruce's eyes. Because one, we get him doing could be the first Batman squint. Usually done with the mask on. This is like maybe the only time we see him do it without the mask. But that is a classic Batman move to just be like, not say anything and just squint. And that means the world, basically.
It's right in the opening of the show, every episode.
Yeah. That's how important it is to the character. You got to show it.
Yeah, it's the first thing he does when he puts the mask on for the first time in this movie. Is he does the squint.
That's how you get in the zone as Batman. It's like you put the mask on and then you got to get that squint or you're not in the right frame of mind.
Yeah. But then again, too, like this is it's a little homage to it'll make me think of like the sort of Sergio Leone spaghetti westerns of like, they always do the close up of the hands, always a close up of the eyes, usually doing a little squint kind of thing, which is in itself an homage back to Akira Kurosawa, who did that kind of thing with Yojimbo and stuff like that. So it all ties back to Japan, baby.
Everything does.
That was one of my favorite memes I've seen in recent years of someone saying like, people say Marvel movies are like the new spaghetti westerns, but like if they were made for $30,000 in Spain and had titles like "If you meet Captain Marvel, pray for your death," I might actually like them. It's like, I would love if they started calling the movies things like that.
Please do. Oh my god, that's the only way to save Marvel.
Yeah, Hulk smash ... If you live, shoot! ! There you go. There's the title for you.
That would be fantastic. Yeah. Well, speaking of, Japanese things, have you guys seen Batman Ninja?
Oh, not only have we seen it, we've an episode all about it.
Okay. Wait. I figured you might.
It's amazing.
Actually, I can remember you posting about that. Yeah.
It was back when our friend of the show, Stephanie Palacino, guested on it. Like, it was just after it came out, so we just finished 89. So it's a long time ago when we reviewed it. But yes, Stephanie used to live in Japan as well, and she was like our sort of resident until you came along, Jack.
She
was our resident sort of Japanese expert.
Gorilla Grodd expert.
Yeah. It's actually, I highly recommend it. People haven't heard that one. That was a really fun episode to talk about. As Batman Ninja is great.
It's absolutely insane. Yeah. Was it made for a Japanese audience, or is it kind of playing on the aforementioned weebs?
It was originally made in Japan, I believe, wasn't it? It was like
It is.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah.
Yeah, but it being made in Japan that could just be to get authenticity and like look and things. I don't know if it was really marketed. That's what I wasn't sure, you know.
Well, it's actually it's based on a comic that came out here. So, I think so it was aimed at the Japanese audience.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah. Speaking though of Japanese things, of course now we have this biker, little Buzz, zooms towards Bruce, and Bruce then does the pretty cool move of running towards him, jumping up on, putting one foot on the fender, and then just punching the guy square in the face until he flies off the bike.
It's so satisfying.
Yeah. It's just a great shot. That's because obviously we always have little stills from each minute when we post the episodes, and I think it might be a problem choosing the ones this season because literally every frame of this film is like a work of art, basically. So
literally,
yeah. But it's just like, that one, him punching the guy and him flying off. That has to be the still of the episode.
I love that the movie acknowledges how cool it is by the filmmakers have clearly gone, wait, no, it's got to be in slow motion.
Oh, totally. But sorry, go ahead, John.
I was just thinking, what a crazy thing to do as well. Like, imagine you're Bruce and you think to yourself, right, this guy's coming at me. It's like chicken. I don't know why you'd ever play chicken with a motorbike, but okay. And then he's like, what I'm going to do is leap onto the front wheel and punch him in the face rather than just stepping aside.
I think one of my favorite elements is the look on the guy's face, because he is just like, I did not see this coming.
Yeah, what is this guy doing? Yeah,
it's amazing.
It really feels like, no, this is a thing that would never happen, but somehow it is happening, where I thought this was a completely 100% win scenario. Turns out, no, he will just jump on the fender and punch you square in the head.
Always do the least likely option. There you go. Yeah. And especially because he's wearing slacks.
Slacks and a sweater over a collared white shirt.
He looks very nice, very proper.
Yeah, one of my notes is no way street punks would be taken down by a guy in pants that pleated. He's just the guy's probably the real shocker. He's like, you should have seen the freaking line down his trousers. Like, this guy, there's no way he's ever been in a fight, but apparently he's been in a fight.
The pleat was so sharp it took the guy out.
Yeah. But of course, this actual thing is a direct reference, of course, to the little-known movie called Akira.
Oh, never heard of it.
Yeah, wherein the character of
you guys should check it out.
Yeah.
Does the same, although he kicks the guy in the face. But it's the same scenario of defending someone, getting involved in a fight with a biker gang that he shouldn't really have been involved with. He's got a lady on the side watching everything. It's a very deliberate sort of little homage there, but that. What do you remember, Jack, when you first pieced together that it was an homage? Because you saw this in the theater, but I'm guessing you probably hadn't seen Akira at that point.
I had not, and honestly, it never really occurred to me.
Oh,
but it very clearly is. They even have the background is very anime-ish, not an actual background, just like a blurred.
Yeah.
So did they
to show the speed?
Did they actually state that it was an homage? Deliberately, we want to reference this movie that we've all enjoyed.
Well, they've never explicitly stated, but there is a ton of evidence, including the fact that they hired the animators from Akira.
Oh, there you go.
The movie,
so there's a lot of crossover with some of the staff. Yeah,
I now want a crossover comic. Imagine that.
Yeah, because this was we mentioned before, it was partially done by Spectrum Animation, who did work on Akira. One of the big ones, of course, is that when they when they started doing it as like the new Batman Adventures, or the new Adventures of Batman and Robin, or whatever they started calling it after they stopped calling it BTAS. And they took away the iconic opening, which is like, what the hell are you doing? And they just put in random clips.
I love how angry you get at that, though.
Bad move. I hate it too.
Yeah, as everyone should. But one of the things they did put in that little opening clip show was the Robin doing the slide on the bike from Robin's Reckoning, which is like that's kind of like the visual Wilhelm scream these days. It's the Akira slide.
Yeah, it's in Nope as well.
Oh, it was great. Like that's got like a little cinematic through line of Jordan Peele was supposed to direct a Akira movie, decided not to do it, and then went on to make Us instead. But then just seeing like at the end of Nope, because I've only ever seen it done in animation. So it seemed like one of the things that'd be really hard to do, and then at the friggin' end of Nope, Kiki Palmer does the Akira slide, and you're like, holy Christ, he finally. I won't make the movie, but all right, I'll throw in the slide just for the sake of it, But yeah, it pops up in so many things now. It is kind of like the visual version of the Wilhelm scream in a way of like, oh, there it is, the Akira slide. I'm sure you literally would have dealt with it minute by minute at the
I believe that was minute 4 or 5, I think, or no, I think that was in the second week. I remember. we love it in that too.
But no, it's not the only through line just to the BTS universe though, because one of the animators on Akira, a guy called Hiroyuki Ayuma. I'm not, again, terrible with names today. He worked on several Batman animated series episodes, most notably Feet of Clay, which is like the Clayface origin episode. Has an insane ending where like he's confronted by all the different characters.
All the TVs,
yeah, and he just starts more
it's one of the most gorgeous pieces of animation I've ever seen.
That's incredible. It's like it's like the end of Terminator 2 when the T-1000 keeps morphing back into, but he's like it's Clayface just changing into people, and it's just like so well done. And of course that's because they got the guy who was all animating for Akira and to do it. So there you go. That's why it looks so good. But he also then went on to work on Return of the Joker, the Batman Beyond movie.
This is the thing where he was in charge of animating the the satellite lasers.
Yeah.
In Akira, right? And he was, I think it looks great, but he was always disappointed in it. And so he was like, I got a chance to do it again in Revenge of the Joker.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm gonna redeem myself.
Yeah. So he's like, I'm going to get it right this time. And he did. It was great.
I think Bruce Timm actually has a quote saying like he found this to be a challenge 15 years later to see if he could top what he had done in Akira. It's not for me to say whether he did or not, but he sure did a great job of destroying that city. But yeah, it's because both of them involve orbital satellite lasers and stuff like that. And there's so much like just in the concept of Batman Beyond, because like it's set in Neo Gotham. Akira. Sorry, you've corrected my pronunciation there, Jack. But that's set in Neo Tokyo, and just like everything about this, the look of it, even the look of Terry McGinnis, the main character, is like, oh, he's a bit Canada, like, and there's a lot of little things in there. Of course, that even goes into like things like the last episode of Justice League Unlimited. What was supposed to be the last episode of Justice League Unlimited, Epilogue, and then ended up not being the last episode at all. But that has a whole plot line. One of the most memorable sequences.
Oh, was that where they tied it back into Return of the Joker? Or
yeah, they tied it back into Mask of Phantasm, weirdly enough.
Right. Okay, yeah.
That's the one where, like, we're talking
that again.
That sequence is really terrible. Like, Andrea Beaumont in Phantasm outfit just walking behind the McGinnises with her claw up. It's like, it looks so stupid. What was it? Yeah. But then one of the best sequences is where Batman's like Amanda Waller's talking about Batman been sent in to take out Ace, the sort of psychic supervillain. And it's a fantastic sequence where you think Batman's going to go in and be all badass and like kill this kid, because basically Ace is a child who's got psychic superpowers that are going out of her control and killing her, and she could potentially destroy the entire city, if not the entire world, much like Tetsuo in Akira. And Batman, much like Kaneda, takes it upon himself to go in, to take care of things single-handedly. Although he doesn't go in with a laser gun and just starts trying to shoot her. But yeah, one of the great, amazing sequence then when you find out like what Batman actually did is just like, she knew she was going to die, and he just sat and like held her hand until she died, and he was just really nice about it. It was like, oh, what a touching thing that shows you the humanity of Batman and stuff. And so it's another
what
little
a cool
like
guy.
Yeah, he is a cool guy, but people have pointed out, yeah, thematically like similarities to Akira and this movie, but they're arguable. Like there's one quote saying that both feature an indestructible hero who is doggedly opposed to an irreformable and equally indestructible villain, and neither film leaves it at that. By the end of Akira, Kaneda has watched his friend turn into a monster thanks to bad luck and scientific malpractice and transcend the mortal plane. By the end of Phantasm, Batman is heartbroken that Andrea, the one chance of long-term happiness and a woman he had proposed to, has succumbed to the same forces that drove him to violence. The broad lesson in both is that violence and the human tendency towards hate only begets more of the same. And you're like, oh, I guess they are thematically linked in that way, but I don't know if they were like that. That's why there's an Akira visual reference in the movie, because they're deliberately going for like redemptive violence never solves anything kind of lesson. Or if they were just like, oh, remember that bit in Akira that was really cool.
That was awesome. Yeah.
And also, by the way, that happens to be a little thing as well. But, it only could be made better had Bruce been wearing like shorts and a pink shirt while he was doing this. Just to drive home the visual reference even more. But
I don't know. It's not as snazzy as the slacks and the sweater.
Yeah. If you could, pleated shorts. There you go.
Oh, no, there's nothing worse than someone with pleated shorts. They're always worn by a specific type of person.
I mean, the kind of person who would have a posh English butler who's not actually English, maybe.
Yeah, true.
Usually wearing like loafers without socks.
Every time, without fail. Or those like boat shoes. I don't know. They might actually be called that. I'm not sure. Boating shoes or something.
Yeah, they probably own a yacht.
Yeah.
But anywho, we do then get a long ass shot of the bike skidding and crashing and like rattling the frame and everything. So impactful was this crash.
Yeah. The bike skidding, crashing is so cool.
It's awesome. I used to try and
I don't know how else to describe it.
I used to try and do stuff like this with my my pedal bike as a kid. Me and my friends for some reason had this thing where we'd ride as fast as we could and jump off the bike and then just see how far it went before it skidded and went flying.
Did any of you ever try to like jump on the fender of the bike and then punch the other one in the head to see if that worked?
It sounds like something we probably did do and failed at miserably.
I don't remember that, but that's mostly from concussion.
yeah, that explains the scar on my skull.
But this also seems like, was Joel Schumacher sitting? He was the other guy in the theater. And then, like, remembering friggin', it was like a minute straight in Batman and Robin when they're skidding down, the bike's skidding down that bridge towards the end. And, like, you kind of don't notice it when you're watching the movie, but it was weird. I was like, Jesus Christ, this bike is skidding forever. Like, how friggin' fast were they going? Is it on a tilt? Why is it still? It's like it's been 40 seconds. It's still going.
Hey, if you don't hit that brake, that thing ain't slowing down quickly.
Yeah. But of course, Bruce then does a cool little kind of landing crouch thing, which I'm pretty sure we see. I thought it was at the end when he's taking on the Joker, but no, the two of them just go clattering down and land on their faces. I'm pretty sure we do see Batman doing this same little landing.
That's how someone recognizes him. That's the Bruce Wayne thing.
It could be. Yeah. One of those thugs later on was like, wait a minute, I saw a guy do that crouch.
I know that booty anywhere.
Yeah, that booty. Those things. And his bat outfit is pleated. I should have known the whole time.
Pleated Batman outfit. Oh my god. But this like casual land, like how does he land so well? He just looks so cool and smooth and like it seems like he actively him.
It seems like they go in slow motion. Like he's like, I've slowed time and space and everything.
What I would have done, which would be less cool, like if I was writing this is why I don't write movies like this. I would have done it so he punches him and the way he flies across with the guy. landed on top of him. You know, he doesn't like land on his feet. He just like, boom, they hit the ground together. And then Bruce like rolls off him. But no, they were like, he's got to look badass.
Yeah. I think that the thing is like everything about this is like he is in, this isn't like the first time when he was out fighting, you know, the guys in the ski mask. It's like he's fully pretty much Batman here. Like he's doing all the moves infallibly except for what happens next. And the one other thing that's like, the one other element in the room is the thing that's kind of like, oh no, he can't be Batman yet because he's got this, you know, he's got Andrea right there.
Yeah.
It's kind of the movie in a nutshell right there. Just my heart breaks a little bit every time when he looks over to her, and then it's like, oh man, Batman, what are you doing? Just
that's his weakness, love. He needs to get rid of love.
Here's the question: like, is it that like he thinks Andrea's in danger, or is it just that he's like, oh, that's right, I was here with somebody else? Like, is it just she's a minor distraction, or is he genuinely concerned that she might get like hurt? Like they might go after her next.
Oh, I think that totally. Because every time I watch this back, even like right now, the way it's shot, it makes me think that they're gonna go for her, but they never seem to. I don't know. It's a bit strange.
Yeah, it's really odd in that like I guess I should have thought of this first. Really, when I was just like galloping in to take care of things, like oh yeah, she's here as well. They might turn around and just go after her instead. But
it'd be the obvious thing to do because, you know, take her. They don't know she can fight. You know, so go for her, take her as like a hostage and be like, hey, man, you know, if you let us go, we won't hurt her, kind of thing.
Yeah. That's but yeah, he's so totally disarmed, and then of course we do get again a little bit of goon dialogue buried in underneath the soundtrack and stuff of just here we go, like as he's speeding towards him.
That's how we're going to start every episode of this show now.
Here we go.
Yeah. But yeah, of course now Bruce is distracted, and we do get him see him take a bat to the chest, where his bat symbol would later be.
It gives him the idea.
That's what I'm saying. This is where he was born.
Yeah.
We saw he stood up and he's got like little splinters of the bat like poking out of his hair, like the ears, and he sees himself in the mirror. He's like, I think I like this.
That's my superhero character I'm coming up with then. I'm Batman. I just beat people with a baseball bat. It's like I'm in the movie Super or something.
Yeah, there's the crow. It's a crowbar.
You can't sue me, DC. It's different. He's Batman. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, it's got a dash. It's fine.
Yeah.
Like it's. It didn't say that. No, there's a Batman with a dash. I was like, I didn't say where the dash is.
Yeah.
It's before the
using
beat.
that one, so it's up for grabs.
Referred to as the minus Batman.
Just put in an apostrophe, like it's a Klingon name or something.
Oh, even better. Yes, that'll work definitely. Because I can just say, well, it's another language. You know, I'm not speaking English, so it's fun.
Batman.
But yeah. So you know, Bruce goes and he hits that box and goes skidding himself.
Quite good animation actually. He looks pained. Like the box has done more damage than anything. Yeah, that would really screw up your back.
Yeah. He calls himself Boxman instead. Now there's just a box on his head. He's like, well, you know, it's cheap. But yeah.
It's cheap, you know, he's trying to save money.
Yeah.
Well, he's not got his insurance paid up, you know.
Well, that's it.
Right. Yeah. What a sucker.
Yeah. But one thing we do ask the guests, though, Jack, is that, like, obviously BTAS is kind of a big part of all people in our kind of age range's childhood in terms of, like, the animation they used to watch. But what other, like, animated series or films back in the day were, like, what were your flavor of choice?
Okay. Well, I mean, at the same time, I was watching The Simpsons, of course.
Yes.
Yeah.
To this day. Probably my favorite show ever. Well, first 10 seasons at least.
Yeah.
9, 8.
I would argue 10. Yeah.
Okay. That's the outer edge.
Yeah. So I think it goes up to 12, but like I was watching one the other day where there's an episode I don't like. That one where Lisa joins the military academy with Bart.
Oh, I like that one.
I think
I think that's one of the last good ones.
Yeah,
myself. Yeah.
but I think it's the end of that one. It's like the entire second half. The first half of it, up before like where they put the ad break, like over in UK TV, like we have one ad break in the middle. That's fantastic. You're like, oh, yeah, why don't I watch this episode more? And then just the later half of it's just like, oh yeah, that's why I just sort of, just kind of turns off the more it goes on. And there's a couple of the season 12 episodes are very like that. Where you're like, no, this is pretty good, and then like, no, something's, Homer getting his jaw wired shut. That's one that's like, oh, starts off great, and then the end of the episode's so stupid.
Oh, I forgot about that one. Yeah.
But though you're obviously,
I want to see my face in that horse's ass. It was worth sneaking into town. That was some good corn.
Oh, that's a classic bit.
But you have like obviously because you did a whole show about Akira though. I'm assuming you're like obviously. Do you have any like animes or anything that you would recommend to the people? Like,
Oh, at the time, I mean, I wasn't really aware of anime.
Well, what is your history with anime? Like, was Akira like your gateway drug to it? Or
That was a lot of people's, wasn't it?
Well, there was Sailor Moon.
Hey.
That was actually my first anime, which I loved.
That's Sailor Moon was never a big thing over here, but it's weird. There's an entire generation of Americans who just talk about like, oh, Sailor Moon, and I was like, like, what is this thing?
Yeah, it seems to be more popular here now than it ever was.
Yeah. I think it's all from people in their 20s going like, I better go watch the Sailor Moon thing. And coming up and like, okay.
That was a thing.
But yeah, I mean, that's all I got for minute 29. Anyone got any parting shots for minute 29 or Mask of the Phantasm in general?
Well, I've got one note that I didn't read. It's that in the script, Chris Jericho here, I'm just calling him that now, the one with the bat.
Chris Jericho just shows up.
Yeah, he's in the script. No, he has a switchblade instead of a baseball bat, and I thought it was an interesting change. Do you think it was too violent visually?
Yeah. I think that's probably exactly what it was. Yeah. Because I know they get away with so much more in this movie, but I think, like, as we said last week with Sal Valestro smoking all the time, it's like, well, it clearly has a bad outcome for him. Yeah. So that's why you can get away with showing him smoking. Yeah. And so you can show a little bit of blood, you can show a tooth getting knocked out. A
switchblade might be a step too far for them, though.
Yeah.
It's not very healthy. And
also, it just kind of makes it seem like, well, imitatable as well. Yeah. You know? Like a kid could freaking try to jump on the fender of a bike, and punch somebody in the head. Like that.
To be honest, a kid's more likely to have a baseball bat than a switchblade.
That is true.
True, you've got easier access.
Kids outright play baseball. They don't play, Russian roulette with a switchblade.
What, as a kid, did you never try and do that thing they do in Aliens?
Yeah. Oh, I always did do that thing, just with like a pencil or something.
Yeah, and stab yourself 50 times.
Yep.
It was basically just hearing just ow, 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 over and over and over again.
But that's the end of my notes. Well, on that bombshell, we will head off into the dark, dark night. Jack, would you like to tell people where they can find your show? Or you can promote anything you want that you've got coming up.
Well, I have multiple shows, actually. So, like you said, I'm also part of the Movies by Minutes community. I do Akira Minute with my co-host, Richard Dunham. We haven't been the greatest with our release schedule, but
it's tough.
We're nearing it is tough. Yeah, we're getting towards the end though, and we are going to finish it. And I have a lot of fun doing that. It's tough, but it's very fun.
And as usual, speak to us on Facebook at the Bat-Minute Listeners Cave, on Twitter at Bat-Minute, Instagram the Bat-Minute, and why don't you go to our network, Sleepy Charlie Media, on TeePublic and buy some merchandise that will help us out. It helps keep the show ticking along. And join us again on Wednesday for more Bat-Minute of the Phantasm and a new guest. Ooh, who will it be? I don't know. You don't know. Tune in to find out. See ya, Batmites.
Next time. I don't know if it's art, but I like it. Bruised Wayne is acting quite tetchy and retires to the drawing room where things are getting sketchy. But while the dark, not quite dismal design goes up in flames, What's despondent Zaddy to do when he's dialed by his dame? Please hold until the next episode, Bat-mites. Same Bat Pod, different Bat Minute.
Must tab top, die Phantasm.